I enjoy coaching because I can do it from anywhere. I enjoy the time I spend with people. It's one of those flow activities where an hour goes by and I don't even realize I've been working.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
So, how do you find the path that what you really want to do, what you really love to do? It was a discovery journey, or from the beginning, from your first business, because you start doing the refurbishing, now you're doing coaching. So it's has been a discovery process for you to achieve what you love. So what challenges do you have finding what you love and finding fulfillment, which is even sometimes more difficult than make money?
Yeah, I mean they're great questions, and I've had 12 plus businesses, not
Wow.
all in real estate and development and construction. And the lifestyle entrepreneur, it goes back to what do I want my days to look like? Who do I want to work with? Who do I want to spend my time with? I enjoy coaching because I can do it from anywhere. I enjoy the time I spend with people. It's one of those flow activities where an hour goes by and I don't even realize I've been working. So
You don't
that's a
even know
clue
that you're
for
working,
people.
yeah.
When you're doing something that doesn't feel like work, it's permanent vacation. I don't feel like I'm working right now. I won't feel like I'm working
Neither do
later
I.
when we have a coaching call.
Yeah.
So when you can find those things that you truly enjoy, and we have a genius model, and the example I use is, and I'm sure you've seen something like this or similar, but it's, let's say you're a resume writer and you want to help homeless people get their first job back in society. Well, they can't pay you. So while it's a noble activity, and maybe you can do that with something else, that's not a business. So you have to find the thing you love, the people you can help, but the people who can also afford to pay you. So in the center of that is typically where your business idea lays. And then you can then use that money to fuel other passions. And for me, as an example, we donate 100% of everything we do to our foundation, Send a Student Leader Abroad. That's
Wow.
my passion project. I want to send 1 million kids on international trips. And our first school, the kids got selected last week. So the dream that this was a year and a half ago is a reality. And so I can take my business, the money I make from my business, and redistribute that into these kids' lives, kids that otherwise couldn't afford a trip like this, to go have that experience that, we're all the same people, all 8, 9 billion of us. I've traveled a lot. I've been to every corner of this globe, and everybody wants the same things you do. And our guiding principle is there's no them, there's only us. And when you can give kids that experience, then when they hear on the news about what they did and what those people are saying, there are no those people. It's just human beings on the other side of the water. And they can take that experience back to a community that's not having that conversation. So that's what Send a Student Leader Abroad does. The business fuels both of those. So now I get to do everything I want to do in one big, tidy package, but it was all because I sat on a beach in Thailand after I retired and said, what do I want chapter 2 to look like? What do I really want it to look like? We just don't, this, Harry. I mean, we just don't spend time. We spend more time looking up car reviews and booking hotels and looking for a good restaurant than we do designing our life. And then we wonder why it didn't turn out the way we wanted it to turn out. The example I give is it's like hopping in the car and typing in the GPS somewhere fun instead of Six Flags. And then you wonder why you don't end up at the amusement park.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the uh sometimes it's important, what do we really want, because some you're starting business and you go inside this dynamic, right? And you have to make money, you have to make profit, you have to do this. But if you haven't worked on yourself, yeah, and you haven't find peace within you, that also will impact the business. As entrepreneurs, a big piece of it is to work in ourselves, right? And for me, works a lot to change the environment. Yeah, I find it, when I'm in London, but then we travel to Dubai or US or Spain or you name it, right? Changing the environment, you have a lot of new ideas. Uh,
Absolutely.
you have a lot of new what you can make a more deep reflection. Yeah, what do you want? What do you want to do, and what will makes you happy? Yeah. So how but for that you have to start this journey to work on yourself and to be at peace with yourself, right? Because a lot of people are running businesses and doing business because they want to prove that they can do better, yeah, and they get trapped, yeah. Yesterday I was watching the documentary of Donald Trump in Netflix, yeah, and it's all a constant battle to prove that he's better than his dad. uh, and we'll do whatever it takes to achieve that, and okay, develop this persona and live the whole life like that, yeah. So, but when you work on yourself and you realize that you don't have to prove anything to anybody, um, I think you are at more peace with yourself, and then beautiful projects like you're doing, taking these kids for travel, can emerge, like to run to do projects to what we call it become a conscious entrepreneur. So it's not only to make money, but to do good for the planet, for society. But in order for you to become that person, you have to do this internal work on yourself, because let's face it, you run 12 businesses, yeah. Everybody knows what happens when you run any business. A lot of negative emotion comes, supply doesn't want to pay you, the client want to pay you later, the employee didn't come to work, an unexpected accident happened, and now you need to deal with lawyers uh, and the police, that these people never existed in your life before, and now you need to deal with these people, and I'm just running a business, and now a lot of new people start to show up into your life. The that you didn't so that you're gonna talk with this type of people, lawyers, police, this and that. You know what I mean? So a lot of things happen when you are an entrepreneur, and so a lot of negative emotion comes, and if we are not able to work on ourselves and release this negative emotion, can end up, and also about our past. If in our childhood, for example, you have this thing, okay, I grew up with very little resources, so now I will never be poor again, so I want to be a billionaire now. Are you mind? Can you mind, just for you to prove that your life become a nightmare, without, and then you become a billion, maybe you make a two decision, or you waste it, or somebody else do something bad with the money that you generated. So things like that. So how do you manage to canalize in all these negative emotions, to work on yourself, to be at peace, to be from this space? Because I can tell, I can smell it because I'm there. So you can see the energy when you're talking with someone that doesn't need to prove anything to anybody, and it's at peace, with themselves. A lot of good things can come out of when you are from this space, but it requires a lot of work internally, and a lot of courage to say, I need help. I have to work on myself. The more I work on myself, the better impact I can make for the world. So how you realize that, and what you did to achieve this?
I've probably read 1,500 books on the subject. So that's, my wife jokes because I was that kid. We've known each other since we were little, and I was that kid listening to Tony Robbins on my rollerblades. While everybody else was going to the movies and figuring out, what junk food to buy, I was just weird like that, and that I just have always enjoyed figuring out why we do what we do. But you touched on it earlier when, money's just an amplifier. If you're miserable at $10,000, you're going to be miserable at $10 million. It doesn't,
Absolutely.
then that's hard for people who have never had money to comprehend. And it's actually chapter 1 of my book is a quote. It starts with a quote from Jim Carrey, and I'm paraphrasing, but I wish everyone could get and have everything they've ever wanted so that they can realize that's not it, and then they can start to live their life. I think if we can go into it with that mindset, and it's what I told the kids last week at the keynote, it's being independent of the good opinion of others. I know that I give my best in everything I do. I don't care if other people think I do or not. And when you can
You don't have
have
to
that
prove
kind of
anything to anyone.
self-reliance, it's to your point, it's a lot of magic comes from that.
Yeah, because you're powerful. You're coming from the space of love. You're coming from the space of contribution, and and you generally want to help people. When you're from this space, it's a beautiful space to be, because you're gonna you running the life. You design the life how you wanted to live. Imagine, because as entrepreneurs, we a lot of pressure comes to ourselves, yeah. And people have a jobs and they say that the job is stressful. You always see
A
running.
different kind of stress.
Yeah. You're stressed, but at the end of the day, the month you get paid, So you run your business, you're stressed out, and if you're not careful, you also lose money. So it's a different type of stress, yeah.
Yeah. One of the kids last week, they had brilliant questions. I mean, it was unbelievable hearing these kids. They're better than adults questions, to be
Absolutely.
quite honest.
Yeah.
But one of the kids he said, well, what if I don't want to be an entrepreneur? What if I want the security of having a job? And where I'm going with this, but I asked him, what happens when Bob comes in on Monday and just tells you you're fired, either because he doesn't like you or because the sky's not blue enough that day, or you said something that made him mad, and now you have to go look for a job. I said, do you know how many people I have to piss off to lose my company? I'm like, it is a big difference. I don't consider a job security at all. That's the scariest thing in the world, to have somebody can just tell me I'm not working tomorrow. So it's what level of stress do you want to deal with?
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.